Good day, everyone. Father Jim here. Hope you're doing well on this Monday, and it's the 18th day of March in our fifth week of Lent here as well. I'm just going to be reading from our gospel today, and that comes from St. John, chapter 8, verses 1 through 11. Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, but early in the morning he arrived again in the temple area, and all the people started coming to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery and made her stand in the middle. They said to him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law of Moses, it commanded us to stone such women. So what do you say?" They said this to test him, to bring against him. Jesus began to write on the ground with his finger. But when they continued asking him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again he bent down and wrote on the ground. And in response, they went away, one by one, beginning with the elders. So he was left alone with the woman before him. And Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She replied, "No one, sir." Then Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, do not sin anymore." It's not all that hard to imagine the tone of the scribes and Pharisees in our gospel today. It's reminiscent of a schoolyard bully who runs to the teacher with a story that conveniently leaves out his part of the drama, or a courtroom lawyer in a police procedural drama who approaches a witness with a smirk, only to realize in the exchange that he does not, in fact, have the whole story. The scribes and Pharisees bring forth to Jesus a woman caught in the very act of committing adultery. The Pharisees did this to try to get a response out of Jesus so that they could have some charge to bring against him. They wanted to bring a charge against him by pointing out someone else's sin. How often can we fall into the role of the Pharisee in pointing out someone else's sin for condemnation without examining our own hearts? This is at the heart of what Jesus is illustrating here. Immediately after the Pharisees say, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery," Jesus bends down and begins to write on the ground with his finger. He responds to their questioning with silence, and eventually stands up and gives a piercing response. "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." None of them threw stones because they knew they were not without sin. We cannot throw stones either, although each one of us could probably point out a time in our life where we had wanted Jesus to condemn someone because of their sin without examining our own hearts. It is really an act of pride and judgment on our part when we point fingers at other people's sin without acknowledging that we too are sinners. Jesus is just and merciful. He does not come to condemn, but to convict for repentance and a change of heart. Perhaps today we can ask Jesus to convict us of the areas in which we sin and give us the grace for repentance as well as a true change of heart where we need it. I always wonder what Jesus was writing there in that sand and that dirt when they were bringing that woman before him. Many theologians have pondered on that one. But anyway, we're all sinners. That means we need Jesus. So as we enter into this last full week of Lent, yes, it is the last full week because next week, Holy Week, Lent ends on Holy Thursday in the evening. Let's continue to journey together. Let's keep praying for one another. May God's blessings be with you always. Take care now.